So bad it's good is a categorization of media that I find very intriguing. Typically, this label is stamped onto movies that were working with a limited budget, and the kind of cheesy effects or bad acting end up giving the movie an unconventional entertainment value. I feel like it's always been the case that amidst the sea of all the bad, low-budget movies, those that loop back around to being good again are very few and far between. This is the case for a lot of the traditional B-movies of the 50s through the 90s, as there are numerous movies made to be essentially background noise at the drive-in, or just trick people into buying tickets. Similarly, the rise of accessibility of the means to make a movie has definitely flooded this sea with even more hot garbage, but there are a few diamonds in the rough. Even when you look at larger budget movies that just completely fell flat of their original intentions, for every critically panned movie that ended up just being really boring and complete wastes of time, there's only a few that really loop back around to being good. What I'm saying is, I've been watching a lot of bad movies. In fact, my friends, girlfriend, and I have watched around 40 of them this year so far. What started as a Christmas tradition, just watching a bunch of low-budget, Christmas-themed movies, has now turned into a semi-bi-weekly event, complete with a detailed slideshow and election process. Something that I've learned from this process is that you may think that every low-budget movie will at least give you a few laughs when you're watching it with some friends, but this is not the case. And so when you find one of these movies that just has even a modicum of entertainment value to them, that shit hits like crack. Also, if you want to see a full list of every movie that we've watched, I put a link in the description to the list that I made on Letterboxd. I think that one of the attributes that I find most appealing about these low-budget movies is the sheer amount of passion and fun that breaks through from the behind-the-scenes onto the big screen. While not a traditional mark of quality in movies, I feel like low-budget movies really thrive when it is clear that the people who are making it are enjoying making it. Additionally, I think it's really important for the level of self-awareness to either be completely absent or at least kind of shrouded. I think that part of the fun behind creating a movie like the ones that I'm discussing in this video is that you can work with an extremely ridiculous premise, but the energy kind of shifts when you start to hit your audience over the head with, "Hey, laugh at us, we know our movie is bad." One of my favorite books and subsequent miniseries is Tatami Time Machine Blues. In the story, the character of Akashi is a member of her college's film club in which she pumps out these low-budget B-movies to mixed reviews. This functions primarily as the thread that connects all of the characters together, and it's one of my favorite details within the story because I feel like it really highlights the bonding and fun nature of low-budget movie making. I'm really only talking about this because it has loose connection to the topic at hand, and I never really have a reason to bring up the expanded universe of Tomihiko Morimi novels, but I also believe that this subplot highlights what makes this rejection of the cinematic tradition so alluring. Behind a B-movie that is actually entertaining is the pure intention of the people behind it making the movie just because they want to make a movie. I'm reminded of rounding up my cousins and friends and recording short movies with little to no preparation or direction, and the act of making the movies was the activity itself, with just a little bonus at the end of showing all of the adults. I'm even reminded of school projects where you spend an entire afternoon with your friends creating a video that ends up having a blooper reel that is far longer than anything substantive. It's experiences like these that initially kickstarted my love of filmmaking, and I think that's why I am so drawn to these low-budget, campy movies. While the equation of passion plus ridiculous moments typically leads to a pretty memorable B-movie watching experience, this doesn't always mean that it makes the perfect B-movie. There are several movies that we have watched so far that follow this formula and end up charming but not as memorable as the main topic of today's video. Some examples of these movies include Phobe, the Xenophobic Experiments, Pappy's Graveyard, and Death List. These are all very fun movies, completely independently created, and definitely have some baffling moments and are worth a watch, and could potentially scratch an itch that is very personal to you. And also, I do realize that I am essentially doing a big love letter to low-budget cinema right now, which is going to seem a little goofy when I start talking about the main movie that I'm going to be talking about today, because this movie is insane. Which now brings us to the main topic of this video, that being the 2016 movie Caroushell. This movie was written, directed, and stars Steve Rudzinski, a man who I just know would have made such an incredible early 2000s video game review channel. It was filmed on a micro budget of around $15,000 and was one of the first movies that we all watched together, and I seriously do not think that there have been any movies that have matched the high of watching this for the first time. And so without further ado, let's get into my very detailed rundown about this absolute masterclass of cinema. And, of course, spoiler alert, in case this was somehow already in your watch list, I can guarantee you, though, that even with the amount of spoilers that I am about to give you, this movie is still going to be extremely entertaining if you go and watch it, as I had forgotten so many of the details of this movie and was incredibly entertained on my rewatch. So the movie begins with our main villain, the carousel unicorn Duke, giving a pretty whiny, Brian Griffin-esque monologue about how much he hates his life.
Just once, I'd like to make myself happy. But no, I have to keep letting little brats climb on my back. I'm Duke, the prettiest goddamn unicorn in the world.
We are then introduced to our main protagonist, Lori, and her little brother, Lunchbox.
God, Lunchbox. Shut up, Lunchbox. Okay, Lunchbox.
Stop calling me that!
And we get some really accurate teenage social media dialogue from Lori.
If I don't update what I'm doing every 15 minutes, I won't be trending anymore.
Lori's mom then tells her that she needs to go to work and that Lori needs to be watching her little brother Lunchbox today. And
Mom, I have this totes sweet party to go to tonight.
And it turns out that Lori's mom is a stripper who works at Pussy One.
Pussy Barn's gotten so corporate since the buyout. Love you, honey.
Also, Lunchbox asks his mom to stop wearing her stripper uniform around the house.
Larry. Jeez, Mom, stop wearing that around the house.
We are then shown why Lori's little brother Lunchbox is called Lunchbox.
Fine, but you have to give me a new piece for my lunchbox collection.
Lori ends up taking Lunchbox over to the amusement park because that's where her boyfriend works, which she's really, really into his bright neon green vest.
Hey, Lori, babe.
Hey, you know I love you in this uniform.
I would also like to point out that Lunchbox's choice of clothing is a Galaxy Cat t-shirt and fedora, but then he has the audacity to say that
Only this gay one left. Lame. Unicorns are for sissies. Eat a dick!
Then we get some nice shots of Lunchbox just completely defiling Duke.
I hate my life.
Duke then decides that he's had enough, he's gonna go on a murder spree, and that is when we get to our first instance of, oh my god, why are the special effects so graphic? Genuinely, these are the special effects that we're working with right beforehand, and then the scene directly after, I have to blur because I think YouTube would take it down. So Duke has his first kill down, and then Lori and her boyfriend are trying to fuck in the car on his lunch break, and then Lunchbox pops up behind them, and Lori's boyfriend says this.
Shut up, dude. I'm trying to bang your sister.
I hate you guys.
I already talked about Lunchbox's choice of clothes, but I really just want to emphasize how perfect of a grubby little meatball child from 2016 he truly is. Duke then kills Lori's boyfriend with a machete in not super graphic fashion. Cowboy Cool, the cowboy mascot you saw earlier,
Eat a dick!
he starts freaking out because Duke is missing. He lore drops that Duke is like a Nazi or something, and he starts trying to hunt him down.
When I was given this case, I was told that the enchantment on the weapon within it would counteract what keeps Duke within that unicorn.
He has an enchantment. He has an enchantment on his pistol. It's like Minecraft. And then Lori was all upset earlier because she really wanted to go to this big party, and she just decides to take Lunchbox with her, I guess. And then we kind of cut to the scene, and it's this couple, and they are having a picnic. And the girl thinks that Duke is like a gift from her boyfriend, and she really likes carousels, and then there's a really graphic death scene, again, just kind of out of nowhere, and then we just kind of go right back to the party. Also, all of Duke's lines in this movie are just the most millennial Marvel-type quips you will ever hear.
Now you can have a picnic in hell! Oh, boy. All right. I really need to come up with better stuff to say. I've used the same thing like 3 times in a half hour. Gotta work on that.
Then Lori and Lunchbox arrive at the party. They're greeted by Lori's friend Sarah, who exclusively talks in horse and pony and unicorn type euphemisms.
And Lunchbox, how you doing, you little colt? I don't want to be here at all.
Which is very important information for later. We're also introduced to Sarah's boyfriend Preston, who just really, really wants to see boobs.
Preston, I have to be like way more drunk before you get to see my breasts.
Like, really wants to see boobs.
Set a reminder for 45 minutes to see Lori's titties.
And this is when it kind of starts to kick in that, like, these actors are trying to portray teenagers, and this is like a big house party, but like all of the lights are completely on, and there's just like an odd silence throughout it that makes all of these scenes so insanely awkward to watch.
Guys, I worked my hooves off for this.
Another unicorn, pony, horse reference. We're then introduced to this brother and sister who are French and kind of solely just exist to make a bunch of incest jokes, and also just a bunch of jokes about them not liking America, and that's kind of their whole thing.
You fucking Americans.
You're all idiots. Well, that's good you guys are close.
Oui, very close.
We then learn that Sarah is a really big fan of My Tiny Uni, and that's actually how her and Preston met. Basically, Preston is a really big brony, and he is embarrassed about it, and then she tells everyone, and then everyone starts making fun of him, and it kind of just recurs throughout the rest of the movie that he's this, like, loser brony, and he's no longer able to see any girls' boobs, which is really sad for Preston.
No, please don't. No, please, fucking don't.
The actor playing Preston is putting his whole pussy into this performance. The desperation in his voice. Also, the unicorn in the show is named Princess Molestia.
Princess Molestia.
Duke then arrives at the party and just kind of for shits and giggles decides to murk a dude for asking if he was a carousel horse. Like,
hey, are you a talking carousel horse?
He literally, in one swift kick, detaches this dude's jaw from the top part of his skull. And then this is where the best character in the entire movie shows up, played by our writer and director, Steve Radzinski, Joe, the pizza guy.
Sir, that'll be $42.30. Right, fucking pizza!
And then it is at this point in the movie that Lori just begins to kind of exclusively speak in hashtags.
Hashtag, gonna hit on the pizza guy. Hashtag, hot bitch.
Again, very accurate portrayal of a teenage girl, A+. Joe is all upset because Preston got distracted by boobs, but then got like splashed in the face, and
Holy shit!
he just wants to get paid so that he can go on his merry way. But then he kind of gets roped into playing Never Have I Ever because Lori wants to
Let a pizza guy fuck me in the ass the first night we met.
And then during Never Have I Ever, there's an incest joke.
Hashtag wincest.
And then it turns out that the French twins are actually French-Canadian, which is very valuable information. I'm really attached to these characters.
We are from Quebec.
You racist American.
And then this guy just gets really, really upset that he lost the game.
Fuck, I lost!
And then Preston gets approached by the guy who just lost Never Have I Ever, and I'm just gonna let the scene play out because it's great.
You're the guy who writes My Tiny Unicorn fan fiction, right?
No. I'm sorry. That was my girlfriend. She was really drunk. That's
Uni bitch!
Holy shit!
Goddamn loser! Why don't you like cool shows like Naval Officer Moon? That shit is hot!
I didn't fight that man! Who was that man? Who was that man in my house?
Then we get another great Lori line.
Hashtag open relationship.
And then Duke kills two dudes that say that they wish that they could die together. He grants their wish. And then Duke arrives at the door. And Sarah is excited.
Hello there.
Oh my god, are you serious?
She's very excited.
Guys, somebody left a carousel horse out here.
Unicorn. Carousel unicorn.
Side note, there's a little Easter egg in this scene. They all talk about how they really hate a guy named Steve, and Steve is the name of the writer and director.
I bet it was Steve, that piece of shit hack.
Ugh.
I hate Steve.
They then have a nice little party montage with Duke. And then Joe, the pizza guy, who is just stuck at this party and desperately trying to leave, helps Preston bring Duke upstairs. And Sarah is very excited.
That's who I'm looking at. Preston. And that sexy horn. I mean, ass. That horny ass.
And then we get more of Joe being oblivious to Laurie's really aggressive advances on him.
Oh, golly gee, Laurie, you actually have to tell a fella if you're interested in him. You've just been talking about pizza all night, which is a really weird fetish.
You are so stupid.
And then Sarah starts walking upstairs.
Where are you going?
Upstairs?
Why?
This is my house. I don't always have to tell you what I'm doing. I'm not going to be messing around with Preston. Unicorn's honor.
Uh-oh. What you are seeing happening behind me is something that I cannot show on YouTube. It has been blurred. Just to let you know, you can see a lot. There are a lot of horse euphemisms going on.
You have to be the sturdiest stud I've ever seen.
Duke calls Sarah a
bestiality bitch.
And all at the same time, the French-Canadian siblings decide to start making out. Sarah then regrets what she did, and there's some dialogue from Duke that is honestly very uncomfortable to listen to, and then he kills her in pretty anticlimactic fashion. It is not one of those gruesome scenes that I was talking about earlier. They really just kind of decide when they want to do a death scene that's like really graphic, and then other ones it's just kind of like you could put this in a PG movie. And then Duke kills the French Canadians, and then Preston's all freaked out and he's trying to like relay the information, but Joe's just upset because he just wants the money so that he can leave. And then he goes on this long rant about his like dog having cancer and how he has nobody. Duke then starts to just like kind of kill everybody off until it's just Joe, Laurie, and Lunchbox left.
I think I need my insulin.
No respect.
No respect.
That's what you kids lack, respect.
And then during this whole kind of chase scene between Duke, Laurie, Lunchbox, and Joe, there really is just like no ambiance behind any of it at all. Anytime that Duke appears, they kind of easily just like fend him off and then run away. All of the lights are still on. There's nothing really like screaming horror movie about what is happening during this entire climax of the movie, you know, well, except for
#horror movie.
And then Laurie explains that her phone can't make phone calls because her mom doesn't allow it because her boyfriend does porn, but she was also in it, and she said it was
just 5th grade fun.
I don't know. And then Cowboy Cool from earlier shows up to save the day, and it's really funny because all of his lines are very muffled from behind the mascot mask that he's wearing.
Holy shit!
And now you got that Nazi son of a bitch on your front door.
And then our beloved Joe is killed very slowly with a pizza cutter. Duke then finds Laurie and Lunchbox hiding in a closet, and then again they just kind of bop him with like a hanger, and they are able to flee.
Ow, ow, ouch! This hurts way more than you'd think.
And then
#killer unicorn. #caroushell.
That's the title of the movie. That's the title of the movie. And now it's time for Duke to kill off Laurie. And he does so by shooting her with laser eyes that literally disintegrates her. And her death sequence puts all of the other ones to shame.
I should have done this a long time ago.
Cowboy Cool saves the day, and then he dies.
See you now.
And then it's daytime, and Lunchbox is still walking home from the party, and then a car shows up, and he starts trying to, like, wave it down, and then Lunchbox gets flattened, and then...
Who else is going to ride the carousel?
That's the title of the movie. And then that's the end. And that was Carousel. I can't recommend this movie enough in spite of how absolutely insane some aspects of it are. I know that it's very far from being a perfect or even traditionally good movie as evidenced by everything that I just talked about, but there is just something so special about it. I know our good friend Steve has made 3 of these movies so far, and I believe a 4th one is coming out or is out. We watched the second one, and I will say, it did not replicate the energy of the first, unfortunately. We will have to watch the 3rd and the 4th movie eventually, and all of the sequels so far have had much higher ratings than this first movie. I don't really understand, but to each their own. Anyways, I am always on the hunt for more so bad it's good movies. So if you have any that you really enjoy, please feel free to comment them down below. There's really a whole world of low-budget cinema and movies that just completely miss their mark that I'm just starting to scratch the surface of, and I do plan on delving into that world in future videos. But I do hope that you enjoyed this video. See you, bye.